Hold on, let me see. Audio. No, I have you on. I have you. Hold on, let me see. AirPods. Try now.
Trying. Anything? Don't you love Max?
I have you on AirPods. Default AirPods. Maybe the volume is lowered here. Hold on. Oh, I have so many stickies. No, my AirPods volume is up, man.
Way up. Time for the government to get a new computer.
Oh, I gotcha. I gotcha now.
You hear me now?
Ooh, a little too loud. Let me lower you.
Yeah. Drop me down.
Talk to me,
No.
Goose.
I feel the need for speed.
Catalina wine mixer, man. I'm sharing which screen? I'm sharing the one down here. So swap. Good.
It's going to look like that. We go here, we go here, we go there without me. You ready?
I hope I'm ready. Hold on. Pulling that up. Okay.
All right. You go whenever you go.
All right. Hello, everyone. I am Lieutenant Yohan Lopez, USMS. I currently work for the United States Merchant Marine Academy, and today I will be presenting on the importance of team culture, creating great habits. Before I get started, I want to give you a little background on what I do here on campus. And at the United States Merchant Marine Academy, I have primary responsibilities. I'm a faculty member, I'm an administrator, and I'm a coach. As a faculty member, I'm a professor of physical education and athletics department. I teach courses here that the students need in order to graduate. The two courses that freshmen need to take to graduate are basic swimming and aquatic survival. In those classes, we have something called their STCW requirements. It's part of their licensing when they want to get their Coast Guard license upon graduation, and it needs to be completed in these courses. It's just pretty much learning how to basic swimming. We'll go over freestyle, elementary backstroke, side stroke, and breaststroke, all the life-saving skills, all the life-saving strokes that you need to do in the event the ship goes down. In aquatic survival, you learn more about survival things such as boarding a life raft, putting on some TPH, which is thermoprotective aids, putting a life vest on properly, abandoning ship, putting on an emergency suit properly, inflating your clothes, and so on and so on. After a freshman year, you don't have to take any physical education class unless you elect to. And those electives that I do also teach are a lifeguarding course, which at the end of your lifeguarding course, you receive a lifeguard certification. And also a surface rescue swimmer course, which upon graduation, you'll have some background in surface rescue swimming. When you graduate here from campus, you have two options. You can either go and, you can either join the maritime industry, or you can commission as an officer into any respective military branches. If you do happen to go into the maritime industry, you can apply for a surface rescue swimming certification where you get paid to work out. So you get about an hour or two a day to work out. And in the event somebody goes down, your job is to save them if they go in the water, or if you're having to rescue somebody because the ship went down, you're the person in charge. So these courses are elective as seniors. And there's also another course that I teach, which is not really taught. It's kind of a guided course, which is a independent study, and it's done on health and fitness. You will sign off with the dean, and if the dean approves it, you'll do it on a particular topic. You'll write a paper, and then the faculty members or the coaches who are faculty members will go over the course and eventually guide you to writing a proper paper. Going back to my other responsibility, which is as administrator, I am the assistant aquatic director to the academy. I maintain the upkeep of the O'Hara Hall and the Eldridge Pool. The O'Hara Hall pool is an indoor facility which is open throughout the year, and the Eldridge Pool is a pool that's only open for, which is an outdoor pool which is only open in the summer. And they keep me busy. The pools keep me pretty busy. As a coach, I am the men's and women's head diving coach. I'm also the recruiting coordinator, director of operations, and director of academics for both the men's and women's swimming and diving team. I also have outside primary responsibilities, which I am expected to also have within the campus, aside from my primary duties. I'm expected to be part of committees. Committees within the campus, such as the candidate evaluation board, which evaluates files, and I give recommendations whether students should get into the school or not. There's also a mentorship program, which means that I take on freshmen and I guide them from their freshman year all the way up to their senior year, and I oversee their grades. I mentor them through problems, any issues they may have, or any kind of things that come up here on campus. I'm also expected to be on committees outside of the academy, and I've been on some national committees. I've been on the senior sub-rule committees for USA Diving. I've been on the NCAA Swimming and Diving Championship for Division III. I've been a committee member on that. I've also been the chairman my last year going in. So I keep myself, again, pretty busy. I also, on my free time, I am a club coach here on campus. I help out with some of the club teams here on campus. There are several club teams here on campus, and one of them is KP Lift, which is an Olympic weightlifting team, and also strength and conditioning team. I also have a Spec Ops club, which I work with. I give them give them workouts, and these particular students, they're trying to go into the special forces, such as SEALs and all the other respective military branches, their particular special operations units. I also work with the Kings Point Aero Club, which is a trampoline club here on campus. And I also work with the Kings Point Endurance Club, which is an endurance club on campus that does a lot of running, biking, triathlons, any kind of long distance racing. So I stay pretty busy. And I also wanted to share with you that I arrived here in 2013. In the summer of 2013, I arrived here. And as soon as I arrived, I felt that somebody was passing a baton off to me, and I was inheriting all of this stuff, all the administrative duties, all the coaching duties, all the faculty duties, and I knew that I had to work really hard to keep up to these standards here on campus. So what did I inherit from a coaching standpoint? What did I inherit? I inherited a student athlete, and a student athlete comes with academics. Their academics, whether they're good students or they're I would say regular students, and then we're something we call our anchors, or students who are struggling in school. We inherited all of these. I inherited all of these academic issues sometimes. The personalities, whether they're good people, good kind-hearted people, they want to help everybody out, or they're hard-headed and they're set in their ways. And whether they get along with the team and they mesh, that's all I inherited when I first arrived here. I inherited their talents, whether they were really talented and they were really hard-working people, or they were talented and they didn't want to work hard and wanted to stay where they were. And I also inherited their habits, such as coming to practice on time, being the last one to leave practice, helping out, just doing anything that would be productive for the team or unproductive. I inherited all of that. And what does that really all come up with? That comes up with team culture, all about team culture and what they have to offer here. And I quickly realized as I first got here is that I had a couple of options when I first arrived here. And option one was to assimilate the culture that was already in place and run with it for as long as I am there. Option two was clean house, get rid of all the headaches and rebuild the team as quickly as possible. Option three was to see how the team does and slowly make changes as the season or seasons progress. As I was looking through option one kind of was like, hey, I'm going to be here for a year or 2 years and kind of move on, use it as a stepping stone. But I quickly realized that this is a place where I really wanted to be. This is the only place that I know that people say, no, sir, yes, coach, no, coach. Everybody is very respectful. Everybody is vetted before coming here. That just to get into a service academy, you have to be in physical conditions. You have to pass certain physical things that you need to do. You have to run a mile and a half at a certain time. You have to do a certain amount of push-ups, sit-ups. You have to throw a ball. In addition to that, your academics you have to blow it out of the water. You have to take AP courses. You have to take honor courses, and you need to have B and above. If not, you're not getting in. So overall, we have really good students here on campus. In addition to that, when you get in here on campus, you're still being tested on all these things, your physical ability and making sure that you stay up to standard, Navy standards, and passing all these tests, whether it's academics or like I said, physical stuff. So I knew that option one was not an option. I wanted to be here. And I'm still here, and I will continue to be here. And that was definitely not an option. Option two was to clean house, get rid of all the headaches, and kind of rebuild a team. That is a very bold move to do, but I didn't think it was for me. When I first arrived here, I had 3 male athletes and 2 female athletes. And to get rid of 2 or 3 people, my team would shrink. And I don't know what my recruiting class was coming into. I was coming in the summer, so I had to kind of get going on recruiting, but I realized quickly that I couldn't clean house. So the option that really came to mind was option three. And I wanted to keep the students. They're all good kids. They're all good kids. So I wanted to slowly make changes so they can adapt and not kind of be forced to do stuff. And that's the option I kind of had my mindset for. So as my first season ended, I realized that I was wearing a lot of hats. I was juggling different hats, whether it was with being an academic officer, director of operation, getting meets ready, getting all the stuff ready for the team. And just to give you a little quick background, that I'm sure that Coach Sean Tedesco, he also had a presentation on this and how to win with a small staff. We are the only ones on the team. I've been working with Sean for 8 years now, and we oversee close to 71 athletes, men and women combined. And I'm the diving coach, he's the swimming coach, and we're constantly juggling hats and trying to figure out where we kind of fit in. So I quickly realized in my first season already that I needed help. I had so much that I had to do here on campus, and I wanted to focus on my team. So I realized quickly that I needed help. And I called friends of mine, and they gave me advice on what to do. But most of my advice really came from 3 different books that I read. And the first book that I read that really helped me out was Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leafy Babbitt. Okay. The second book that really also helped me was Atomic Habits by James Clear. And the final book was Legacy by James Kerr. And I'm going to go into briefly about what I got from each book and what I did, but these 3 books really helped me kind of hone into what I want to do with the team. And I've been implementing these books for the last 3 to 4 years. So it's been taking me a long time to figure out what I want to do, but I got it rolling for the last, I guess, like I said, 4 years. So I'm going to give you a quick, brief overview about everything. So in extreme ownership, and I'm going to sum it up. What is extreme ownership? Extreme ownership is the practice of owning everything in your world to an extreme degree. It means you are responsible for not just those tasks which you are directly controlled with, but all those tasks that affect whether or not your mission is successful. So everything I did here on campus, everybody here on campus is expected to own everything we do. So when I read Extreme Ownership, I realized that I wasn't only in charge of the things that I did, but also other things that kind of came with it. If a student didn't do well, that was also my fault, if whatever. So I had to own all of that in order to move forward. And what I got out of moving on, and what I got out of Atomic Habits, well, what is an atomic habit? An atomic habit is a regular practice or routine that is not only small and easy to do, but is also the source of incredible power, a component of the system of compound growth. So little changes and little habits that you're changing slowly will make a big impact. So I started to use that and think about how I would use that. So I kind of let that meld in my head on how I would make small changes going into the next upcoming year. And then legacy, the biggest thing I took out of legacy was ritual. Ritualize to actualize, to create a culture of continually growing and changing, an identity and purpose that needs to evolve and update, inspiring leaders to establish rituals to connect their team to its core narrative and using them to reflect, remind, reinforce, and reignite their collective identity and purpose. So I felt like I needed to give the team a purpose and give them some rituals about some of the things that we needed to do. Like I mentioned before, I do a lot here on campus. So I needed to get a hold of what I was doing here on campus. And I needed to get control more of their academics. They were doing well in school, but I wanted to have more control and be more in on top of that to make sure that they did well. I needed to control their academics. I needed to get a little more control over the pool. There's a lot of work that you need to do in the pool. I also needed to get control of the operations, the daily operations with the team, whether it was getting vans and doing things here and picking up their foods, getting all their meals, and just trying to get all of this together. And obviously get even more control, oversight of the teams. So I thought about it for a couple of years, and we started to slowly create positions, officer positions within the team. And the first one I needed to kind of get into was the academic officer. We started to set a particular academic officer, and I would say 3 years now. And the academic officer would assist me with the oversight of the freshmen's academics. So freshmen here on campus, on our team, are required to go to study hall. All freshmen, not just our team, but also, I take that back, just freshmen overall required to go study hall. There's a regimental study hall that all freshmen need to go to, and there's also, or you can do a team study hall, and I used to oversee that, but now I kind of gave it over to the academic officer. They would set up times throughout the day and the afternoon to do it, and they're required to do 3 hours of study hall a week, and it can be broken up into whatever 1 hour every day for 3 days, or 1.5 hours for 2 days, and now that COVID has happened, instead of doing them in person, they're doing them online. So they all log on Zoom, all their screens on. The academic officer will sign in, and he will have some backup seniors who will also log in with him. Excuse me. And they're there to answer any questions. So they're just there and doing their own work as well. And any questions the freshmen may have, the seniors will answer. And obviously in Zoom, as you already know, you can do little breakout rooms, and they can be sent in the breakout rooms to go over the material, so that not everyone on the screen is talking at the same time. With tutoring sheets, we require the team, this is a requirement for the team, that if you're taking a math or science course, we require to do 1.5 hours of tutoring, and this could be peer-to-peer tutoring or professional tutoring, depending on your level or need that you need. And you would have to sign off on it and submit it to the academic officer. And I used to collect all of this, but now we do it online, and they can virtually sign it, and makes it a lot easier. And we use these two tools, the study hall and the tutoring sheets, so that in the event something happened with the student not doing well, we can prove that they've been working very hard, and that we're doing everything we can in our end to make sure they're taken care of. So that's what our academic officer did, and that's the culture that I was trying to create, and the habits that I was trying to create. When we initially created the position about 3 or so years ago, it was just to do minimal, just checking. And now, as we keep changing over, we keep asking the seniors to take ownership of it and to make it better. And in the last 2 years, not only does the senior get the position, but he also has an understudy. And the understudy is usually a junior, and they will learn how to do their job so they can take it over. And one builds upon another, so it's kind of like as a culture of one helps one to another and so on. It's like a mentorship program, which is great. And the students that we've picked for the academic officers, they normally volunteer. We don't have to tell who wants to do it. They normally, hey, listen, coach, I really want to do this, and they'll do it. And from a pool perspective, we needed to create a regimental lifeguard officer. Not only is he a lifeguard officer for the team, but he's a regimental lifeguard officer, which means he has a position in the regiment, and he has X amount of bars that give him a certain position and certain privileges within campus. And with the regimental officer, they assist me with the oversight of the pool. The oversight of the pool, just checking chemicals, making sure the lifeguard schedule is put together, and they check making sure people are here. They're also my eyes and ears when I'm not here, and they give me a good update on what's going on here on campus. From an operations standpoint, we created a logistical officer, and the logistical officer would assist me in grabbing vans, picking up the team meals, picking up the food, making sure we have the receipts, and moving things, miscellaneous things here and there at the pool, because the pool is used as a classroom. So sometimes we have to do some cleaning, and they would assist me with that. So it was quite helpful to have that, and it makes me have an easier time. And traditionally, when they come in and do stuff, I'm usually right there with them, helping them out. Oversight of the team was usually for the captains, and the captains will answer for anything that goes wrong with the team, and they would push all the information and get everybody organized. But for the most part, the captains are picked by the students here on campus, and the swim coach and I, we get together and we kind of certify, hey, these are the captains you're having this year, and they move forward. And as I was talking, the academic officer, the pool, the regimental lifeguard officer, and the officer for the logistical officer, they're traditionally giving to the positions for people who don't get captainship, so they could also have a leadership role. We wanted captains to own what they were doing and own the team and change the culture and move on with the culture. But we also felt that we needed to add other positions. So I kind of pitched this idea to the swim coach, and we ended up creating these positions because it gave a sense of ownership to what we do here on campus. And they've done an outstanding job. Just talking about the academic officer, he would just do the minimum, and now it's set up online. Everything is done. They have all the information. They have templates for emails they sent each other. And same thing with the lifeguarding. They know exactly what to do. They have everybody on group texts to make sure everything's going. The logistical officer knows what time of the year, what's going on. And that's because the seniors kept on setting the bar higher and higher, and they kept on passing this information down. And every year we left the team better than we found it. And while all of this was going on, what it did for me is freed me more time to do more work with my team. What I mean by my team, the specific team that I was hired here to work, aside from assisting the swimming team as well, was to work with the diving team. And one of the habits that I really wanted to create was getting them to write down their feelings. So the first thing I did was I bought them a composition book. And this is, we're talking about, I have one here actually. Oops, sorry. I have one here. This is a composition book that I give to my athletes. This cost me $1. And it has 200 pages. So season doesn't really go that long. I mean, 20 weeks, 20 times 5. Yeah, you're looking at X amount of pages. You can fill this in a year or 2 seasons almost. And just looking back on it, it was the greatest thing to do was to buy him a composition book, because then we started to journal. And once you put pen to paper, you get information on how you feel. And some of the things that journaling does, at least for some people, is journaling will give you a chance to slow down your fast-paced life and think deeply about who you are, where you are, and where you wish to go. It will also allow you to plan out the journey in great detail as well. So journaling for me started about 3 years ago when my time started to free up a little bit more. And first year we did journaling, it wasn't mandatory. I gave them a book. I said, hey, put your name on it. It'll be sitting on my desk. And I gave them some criteria. If you want to get personal in the book and tell me, all I want to know from you is actually how you're doing and how the practice going. And if you wanted to get personal about your day, just understand I'm going to be reading and responding back to you, so you get as personal as you want. Just know that I'm going to be responding and talking to you. And just tell me how practice went. Maybe you want to tell me, hey, listen, these reverses didn't go well today. My forwards didn't need to go well. So I would read how the day went, and we would just talk about it. And it would also make me think, hey, listen, they had 8 classes in one day, and they're coming to practice. They're having a bad day. Maybe we should, it made me think, make a note, hey, listen, a quick note, hey, on Tuesdays, this particular athlete has a harder day, so maybe we just back off and do vaults to start and see how he feels and kind of push the optionals there. And at first, it wasn't mandatory. It was just fill it in, whatever you want. I started to get a lot of feedback, started talking to the athletes more. I do set time to talk to my athletes on a weekly basis, but this gave me little micro conversations with them and slowly gave me more of a connection with them. And it helped me get to know them better, and also help them to get to know me better, because they would share something and I would share something back, and I got to know my athletes. And the second year I did it, I made it, you had to journal 3 times a week. And at the end of Sunday, if you didn't have 3 journals, you had to make them up. But you also had to journal your meets. And I'm not going to show you exactly what I wrote, but if you had a meet, I would take your sheet, staple it on, and then you would tell me how your meet went, what you could have done better, and all that stuff. And then I would give you feedback on it. And I get to know you. Hey, listen, yeah, this reverse was a little close. I felt a little tight, and we would just share information back and forth. So that was the second year. I would just give them minimum 3 times a week. This past year, with COVID going on, I felt like I needed to bond with my team a little bit more and get to know the culture that was going on with the team. So I made it mandatory. So at the beginning of practice, I would write out a practice in a piece of paper. At the beginning of practice, there would be a sheet. It would have a journal prompt question. And you'll read some of it would have a journal prompt question at the top of it, and then it would have a whole workout listed here of what you were doing. We would start with dry land, and to give you some time to think about it. And you were asked to think about the question throughout practice, just to have an idea of what you were going to write. At the end of practice, after you finish, I expected you to come into my office, grab your journal, grab a pen, and just write in it. And tell me, and pretty much just, why do you dive? I wanted to know why you dove. I wanted to know why you chose to come here. I wanted you to tell me who you looked up to and why. I wanted you to describe your perfect day, a perfect day in your particular environment. What were you grateful for today? And so on and so on. I'll go into details about that. But what that started to do was for the athletes to slowly start to share little by little about what was going on with their day. And I got to know them a little more personal. And when they would answer the question, I would try to relate myself to them. Hey, listen, that's how I felt. That's why I also do what I do. Or that's why I chose my sport. That's why I look up to this person. And they got to know me on a personal level. And at the end of practice, they would write in their journal, put the journal down. I had 2 options. I could respond that same night if I had time to all the journals. I'll explain how big my team is in a minute. Respond to all journals that night, or the next morning before practice, I would write in their journal just to have a response. So that when they would come into practice, they'd go straight to my office, grab their journal, look at what I responded back. Maybe they said, hey, listen, this is my perfect day, or whatever the case is. Practice went well, but I wanted to work more on reverses. Maybe I would write, hey, this is also how I felt about my perfect day. And then I would say, hey, remind me next practice to, when you start off practice, we will do some standing reverse dive tucks of 3 meters, or standing 103s or 105s of 3 meters, just to kind of get moving and just working on your quick connect or your rhythm off the board. And we would start practice. We're about to get in the water after doing some dry land. Hey, coach, remember that thing you wrote? It's like, yeah, that's right. Start with that first, and then we'll kind of go into it. Because as a coach, you get caught up with all your athletes, so you forget some of these things. So journaling was very, very good for our team. And some of the things that came with the mandatory journaling, if you didn't journal the day of practice, after practice, and I looked at your book, I would put a Post-it and say missing journal. And you knew as soon as you picked up your book, you had to write what happened last practice. And now I'd have to answer 2 journals the next day. You would have to fill out, say, hey, coach, I did it, and go to practice and continue. And then the next day when I looked at your journal, I'd have to give you 2 journal entries back to you, which wasn't so bad. And I got to know my athletes, and there'd be times where I would rush in to write practices and, hey, coach, what's the journal question of the day? Oh, give me 1 second. And I'd look it up and find out, hey, this is what we're writing. And they would know it. And then I would write out their workouts, get printouts for them, hand it to them, and then we kind of keep going. And what I started to realize was that I started to connect with my athletes. And my team culture started to get stronger just because they were easy to talk to. Some of my athletes would tell me some personal stuff, like, unfortunately, somebody passing away, and tell me some information and details, and how certain things were going, and it was like we were talking like we were family, more than just a coach to athlete. It felt like we were part of a family. And one of my biggest accomplishments as a coach actually came this past year. And the student life here on campus is hard. They're taking 18 credit loads per trimester that they're here, 16 to 18 credit loads per trimester they're here. So their time is very limited. They start their day around 5:30. And they don't end their day till around 4:30, and then after that they come to practice. So after practice, they would have practice and go straight back to their mess hall and get their food or whatever. And this happened, I would say, 3-4 months. Actually, this happened in October. Practice ended around 6:30, 7 o'clock, and I went back to my office. I did some office work, and I'm doing some office work for about an hour. And I thought my team left, and they were still, and I walk out of my office and I see them. I'm like, hey guys, what are you guys doing here? Hey coach, we just bought pizza and food, and we just decided to stay on deck and just eat it. And you can't teach that. You cannot teach that. You cannot coach that. That just happens. These are freshmen and seniors hanging out with each other, and traditionally classes kind of stick together, seniors with seniors, sophomores, juniors, and freshmen with freshmen. But my team culture was very strong at that time, and they just wanted to hang out with each other. And it was kind of cool. And I'm looking out this way because that's where the pool deck is. And I was just watching then. It was a great feeling to know that they just wanted to hang out with each other outside of practice too, and just get to know each other, because they would sit there and talk to each other for hours. And I found journaling to be pretty good. I found that extreme ownership was very important, giving them ownership of what they were doing. And this habit of journaling has been very good for me, for my team. And I'm starting to evolve a little bit more. Currently, I bought a book called A 5-Minute Journal, and they have 3 journal prompt questions. And then, for example, what are you grateful for today? Maybe I'll use that question as a general question for my team every day. What are you grateful for today? Just give me 1 sentence. The other question is, what is your team mantra for the day? I guess your mantra. And mine's always been, I'm a student, teacher, mentor, and coach. And that's just for my professional thing. For my personal thing, I am a father, I am a husband, and I'm a son. And these are things that I carry throughout life. And these are things that I may be using as journal prompt questions, things that can make my day better. Like what would make today great? Maybe one of the questions I ask them, maybe after practice, I'll ask them on a different topic question, which could be what something great that happened today, and what could I have done to make it better. But I think this is still in development. I still want to journal, and some of these questions that I've shared with you are questions that I could recycle, and I hope to keep using them to kind of build this strength with my team. And that's all I got. And I just want to thank you for your time, and thank you for listening to me. I appreciate it. And if you have any questions, I look forward to the Q&A.